Hello, everybody. This is Dave Stevens coming to you live from Radio Row. And yeah, it looks a little empty here on day one of media availability here at the Super Bowl. Not many people here, but we are. Hi, everybody. This is Dave Stevens here, and we're going to be here at our makeshift studio for most of the week for Ability TV. For Ability Media, Ali Plus TV, and of course, the reason we're here is the Disability Channel. So, thanks everybody for joining us. I got some real excitement coming up. We got all week. We got some great stuff planned, and we got an amazing guest to kick things off today. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring in an old friend of mine. You may have heard of him. He played in 4 Super Bowls in his lifetime. All 4 winners, I might add, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Rocky Bleier, 4-time Super Bowl champ, joining me to talk Super Bowl, life, and anything else he wants to talk about as we catch up. Normally, we'd be together. He'd be showing me his 4 rings. We'd be talking about Bradshaw and everything. But Rocky, thanks for being a part of the Super Bowl.
Hey, thanks, Dave. Thanks. Now I feel like it's Super Bowl week. In the past, as you had said, we've had this opportunity to be together down at Super Bowl, one venture or another. But because of this COVID situation, obviously, as you had pointed out, not a lot of people showing up there. So you kind of brought me back into the fold, and so it makes me feel good. Like, all right, now we're getting ready for the Super Bowl. It's a great week coming up.
Now, Rocky, most of our focus is obviously going to be on the Super Bowl while we talk today. But so you had the opportunity to go through it 4 times. So what are you doing as a player Monday when you hit town? You got all that kind of stuff. What did you guys go through as a unit with all the hoopla? I need tickets, all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's a kind of. I'm glad you brought that up because what people need to understand, or I think, or at least going back then, is that obviously the Super Bowl is a big thing, big factor. Now, Chuck Noll, who was our head coach, had this certain philosophy. Is that every game was a game in a series of games. The Super Bowl was no different. It's just the last game that you get a chance to play in. If you didn't do well, in previous games all the way up, if you didn't win in the playoffs or in the championship game, you wouldn't be here. So every week was basically the same, and you prepared the same for that team. And so nothing was extraordinary. There was no extra time or more time. So our schedule was last week. After the championship game. So we got Monday and Tuesday off. And then we reported Wednesday to start getting prepared for this game. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday we had off. And then Sunday, the team flew down to the Super Bowl location. So we came in on Sunday. And to keep the schedule intact as it had been, is that we didn't have to report until Tuesday. And so we came down to an area like this, Sunday checked in, and so we had Sunday night off. We had Monday night off. Tuesday was media day, so to speak, and we talked it. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you got ready for the game like you did every other week. So on a day like this, is that you had some time off, so you got a chance to go out and have dinner, meet with some friends, but usually the family didn't come down. Now the added pressure was just as you had made mention. Okay, tickets. Okay, how many tickets can we get, and how many other tickets? Okay, fine. Then we have to get rooms. Whether it be your wife or family, immediate family, that'd be coming down, mom and dad. Everybody wanted to have rooms, so then you had to coordinate that with sometimes the organization. They would be a hotel that the guests would stay at, so to speak. But you have to make reservations, get on the chart, make sure they got tickets, make sure that they got tickets. And then they come in, usually, like on Thursday or Friday. And then you had to get together at least once and still focus on the game. But now you got family. And so you got all this other stuff piled. And sometimes the game becomes on the second tier. I mean, you don't even think about it. You go, okay, fine. I have to take mom and dad out. I got to do this. My girlfriend's coming in, or my wife's coming in, so or this, and aunts and uncles and so on, and who's all getting together. And but anyway, it's a good memory to have. So this is what's going on within the players, I think. Now today, who knows? I mean, today they might have they might have a whole department on the team that takes care of this all for the players, so that they don't have to worry their pretty little heads about having to take care of their families. So who knows?
I got to ask, Rocky, when was there time to concentrate on football and put in? I mean, you guys, by that time, you have your game plans, but you had to tweak things for the Cowboys and stuff. So as we're getting to Thursday, Friday, what's going on then?
Yeah, I mean, it's still your focus, but to some degree, the football then becomes the focus. I mean, so you got a chance to come into a town, you got a chance to go out, you stay out. You didn't have to report. There's no curfew. You go out and party, whatever that might be within your realms. But you were looking forward to Wednesday, so you could concentrate on the game and start getting back into that rhythm of getting prepared for the Super Bowl on coming Sunday. So that was great. I remember is our first Super Bowl, Super Bowl IX, was down in New Orleans, which is a party town to begin with. And it was great just to have that little break to go down in French Quarter and hit some of the bars and restaurants on your own and not have to feel guilty about it. And then then Wednesday started, and so you look forward to going back to practice, concentrating on what needed to be done. Terry Hanratty was my roommate at the time, and he and I would just go out to dinner by ourselves, come back to the room, and watch television, and start the next day over. So try to keep things in that perspective.
Well, we have the legendary Rocky Bleier talking to us Super Bowl memories. He had 4 of those with the Steelers. Not many 4-0 people, other than that Tom Brady guy. That's what has he got, 5 or 6 or whatever? But
right. Too many.
Rocky, when you throw 4 together, 4 Super Bowls, I mean, you had some big moments, a couple of jumps, things like that. I mean, do the memories fly in, or are there 1 or 2 that stick out?
No, I think that every game that you're playing, whether you win it or lose it, any big games, if you got a chance to play in the championship game as well as Super Bowl, there are plays that you remember. There are situations you remember that stick out more than anybody else. And so in Super Bowl IX, the first Super Bowl that we had played against the Minnesota Vikings, as I had made mention, down in New Orleans, we had a play. I mean, I was very excited, but we had a play specifically put in for me. Now that was really something, and it was called Dive 34 Sucker. Okay, so basically, the coaching staff had seen a weakness on the Vikings defensive line, and we at that time were a sweeping team. We were a trapping team, so guards would pull. Franco would be our main runner, obviously, and so we saw where let's just say everybody goes to the left, that there was a gaping hole back at the right. So if we took a counter step, like everybody's going this way, I would come back into that hole. So we ran it to I think probably the third play of the game, and boom, everybody went to the left. We came back to the right, and it opened up, and I got 19 yards. Franco would have scored, but I got 19 yards. But that's all. So we ran it once, and then we came back and we ran it again, and I got like 12 yards. And then we came back and in the third quarter, and we ran it again, and I got like maybe 8 yards. And then we ran it again. So now the situation's down. Time's running out. We got the ball. We're down on the 20. We're probably down on the 20-yard line. Maybe the 26-yard line. And we had 6 yards to go, pick up a first down. It was 3rd and 6. And Bradshaw comes back into the huddle. And as he does to incorporate his team, he looks up and he says, "Okay, guys, what would you like to run?" in unison. Let me tell you, in unison, without a nanosecond. I mean, it came out like, soccer. We're going to run soccer. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, because you guys don't do anything. Nobody blocks on that play. No wonder you want it. You know, how dumb, how stupid do you think they are? We can't run it another time, 6 times. Well, we did come back and we ran it. I did get hit. I just made the first down on that play, which led to a touchdown to give us the lead at 17 points. And so it was a big play. But see, I remember that play and specifically. And in Super Bowl 10, there was a play that had taken place. I won't take up so much of your time, but it was a very crucial play. And I thought was probably the dumbest play called, well, in our history anyway. And it was in the fourth quarter, and we had the ball on the 40-yard line, and it was 4th down and 7 or 8 yards. 4th and 8. So naturally, what are you going to do? Well, it was probably a little less than 2 minutes on the clock. You punt it. You just get it out and let the defense take over. And so all of a sudden, there's a timeout. Okay. Hand ready. Terry got hurt. Terry Bradshaw got hurt on the series before, so he was taken out of the game. Terry Hanready's now our quarterback. He stops. Chuck calls the timeout. And I'm thinking, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got to punt the ball. You got to get it down there, or you got to throw it, If they intercept it, then that's as good as a punt. Oh, if you're going to run it, well, we've got to give it to Franco. He's our 1,000-yard runner. So he comes back into the huddle. So I ask him, what do you think? What did he say? He said, so he gets in there, he calls the formation, 4 right split. He calls the play, 84 trap, which is a strong side trap. But I'm running the ball. And I'm thinking, 84 trap, that's not a great play to call on 4th and 7 or 4th and 8. And as we're breaking the huddle, he says to me, run out as much time as you can. Now, I'm not a run out guy. Franco's a run out guy. You ever see him? He goes this way, he goes that way, he goes this way. I'm an A to B guy. That's all I know. A to B. And the ball snapped, the clock runs, boom. 2 seconds. And they take over. And I thought, wow, if anything, we didn't get the first down. And if we lose this game, fortunately, we came up with an interception to be able to win the game at the end. But that was that one. The Super Bowl 13, for me, specifically, was the play right before the half. That was a 3rd and 7. Geez, they're all 3rd and 7s and 3rd and 7s and 4th and 7s. They're all so that was.
What was Bradshaw doing with all these 3rd and 7s? Obviously not completing any passes, right?
That's right. And so it was a quick pass play to the halfback myself to go right down the line of scrimmage and hopefully pick up the first down. That was the play they called. It was a broken play. All of a sudden, I floated in the end zone. Bradshaw's running around right before the half and throws it into the end zone. Throws it to me. My immediate reaction was he's throwing it away. He's throwing it over my head. Now, I'm not that big of a guy, 5'9.5", but I leaped as hard and as high as I possibly could during that period. And all I thought was if I could just tip it, if I could just knock it down, maybe it'll fall in my hands and so on. So I threw my hands up. Thunk, it stuck. And it comes down across the goal line and gives us a lead. And as I'd like to say, a lead we'd never relinquished. But that was my memory of that play in Super Bowl 14. My biggest memory, it'll take too long, is that Terry got confused throughout the whole game on what plays to call. And it stopped our running game. Now we were 11.5-point favorite going in playing the Rams out in LA. And at halftime, they had a lead, so it was a big game for their fans, obviously, and for the excitement of the game because everybody thought that we were going to roll over them. But all of a sudden, they had a lead. And the primary reason that they had a lead is we couldn't move the ball offensively and we'd find ourselves in 3rd and long situations. Because Terry got a couple plays just mixed up and ran at the wrong time. So I remember that. Anyway, those are
Such
my little memories.
such great memories. Dave Stevens here with you at Radio Row. And again, there's not a lot of people here, but thank you guys for your support. And of course, our sponsors, Ali Plus TV, Ability Media, and why we're here, the Disability Channel. We're chatting with Rocky Bleier, 4-time champion, Super Bowl, Pittsburgh Steelers, a lot of great memories. And, to be able to grow up and, become friends with an icon like you, Rocky, and be a part of all the things we've been with the Wounded Warrior games and everything over the
Right,
years.
yeah.
I really cherish it. And I'm so lucky to be hosting a new show called Boomer Connection. And, I think the fans want to know what Rocky Bleier's up to these days.
Well, like everybody else, so after you retire, you try to find a niche of what your life is going to be and so on. And because of, as you well know, Dave, because of a story, because of being in Vietnam, because of being wounded, coming back, and because of the success of the team and being part of that success, so you've got your position elevates a little bit, and so I got a chance to go across country and give talks about overcoming obstacles and having and reaching goals, and so that became a big part, and so I couldn't do that for the rest of my life, although I keep trying. But anyway, so basically today, I'm a businessman. I have a construction company here in Pittsburgh. We're a general contractor. And we do a lot of military work with the VA in our work. We do a lot of hospitals and facilities of that nature. And so it's been 20 years since we've been doing that. So that keeps me busy and off the streets, as they say.
And it's got to be very sad because you guys normally come here, and I've seen you with Bradshaw, and I see, it's kind of an old home week for all you superstars catching up that you don't normally get to during the year.
Well, no, it is, and it's a great time to be able to touch base with a lot of former players from teams that you played against, guys that you played maybe with in college, and who you don't get to see but once a year at the Super Bowl. So that is something I truly will miss this year. But it was always a great melting pot of not only players, but writers and people who are involved in the game of football, from agents all the way through. And so so it was always fun to be able to come to or go to the Super Bowl because of that.
I'm so excited to be associated with Boomer Connection, and another great show coming up called Rock Bottom and Back. And if there's an epitome of anybody talking about Rock Bottom and Back, Rocky, to use part of your name, is, you served, you got wounded, your ability to play football was in highly questioned with the Steelers. You've been back to those areas, but you've been to rock bottom and bad. If you could tell the viewers and listeners and a lot of young kids here on Ability Media who are listening at Quinnipiac College, if you could just kind of tell them, what that injury was like and how you overcame it, not only to just play football, but to get up, walk, and live your life.
Well, I think one of the great things that you do, Dave, and you bring that across very well, not only in your life and in what you've done, but in touching people who have had disabilities, who've had problems, and in being able to tell their stories. My story basically was that I came out of the University of Notre Dame not as a highly touted draft choice. I was the 417th person picked in the draft that year. I was a 16th round draft choices. In my mind, though, you have to understand, there were 17 rounds, so I was not the last guy picked, and that's very important in how you view yourself. And so I came and I made the team that year, one of 4 rookies that made the team, primarily playing special teams. But it was 1969, the height of the war, or actually I should say 1968, the height of the war. In Vietnam. We had over 500,000 troops there, and I fell through the cracks. The draft was in vogue at that time, and for our young people out there, which does not exist anymore, the draft was when you turned 18. You had to register for service in our military, when they needed you, they could call upon you. You got a deferment if you're in college for those 4 years. If you flunked out, then you were back on an 1A classification. And so I got through college and I was with the Steelers. And when I got my 1A classification, probably in August of that year in '69, we were in training camp actually. And so the Steelers said, well, we'll take care of this. Now, I thought, well, you get into the reserve and the National Guard. That's where a lot of players had been. But just anyway, long and short of it was that I just fell through the cracks. I got drafted, like thousands of other young men during that period of time, and I ended up in Vietnam. And as that story goes, about 4.5 months after I had been in country and a couple of skirmishes, I got we were in a heavy firefight, and I got hit twice the same day within the same action. One, I got shot through the left leg, and then secondly, I got hit with a grenade that blew up to my right foot, knee, and thigh. And so we were in that firefight. Eventually, we got evac out of there and went to a field hospital, went to Tokyo, came back to the States, and ended up spending 9 months in the hospital, overcoming those injuries at that time. So the prognosis basically was, when asked whether I could play this game of football again, don't worry about playing football. You'll have a normal life, the good doctors. Don't expect it. You just won't have the strength and the flexibility to do the things that are necessary in a running back. The interesting thing at that moment in time, because this happens to us, is with mentors and teachers and or parents and or somebody that we trust, when asked of advice, they may say those things, don't worry about it. But as my authority figure, and we all have that, he just kind of sucked that hope right out, me being able to come back and play. As my story goes, 2 days later, honestly, just out of the blue, I got a postcard. Had 2 lines on it, said this: Rock, team's not doing well. We need you. Art Rooney, owner of the team. Somebody needed you. Well, they didn't need me. Somebody just took an interest. And I think that becomes very important in our roles in people with handicaps or who are facing some obstacles in their lives. So you need some hope. You need people to give you encouragement along the way. But you yourself also have to have a vision of what you want to become or what you want to do. So in this case, for me specifically, and I'm not saying necessarily being an athlete, but just playing in the backyard, playing pickup games as we do growing up in our neighborhood. And then until you get in organized sports, is that we all have our incidences. We got pulled muscles, we get sprains, we might get a broken finger, maybe a broken arm, along the way. And then as you look back on it, what do you find? Well, what you find is that it hurts. Ooh, yes. And then it heals. And then all of a sudden you're back in the backyard playing again, as if nothing ever happened. So in this case, and in my mind, damaged as I may be, but unlike you, I did not lose. I had not lost legs or an arm or something. So my thought was, well, in time we'll see what this and where it takes us. But also you have to have I think a dream of it or a challenge. And so in my case, it was coming back. That became my focus, coming back to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So in so doing, it was like, okay, I need to erase, and maybe this is a very important, all those ifs that we carry in our lives, just so that if I come back and if I don't make it, I'm not spending the rest of my life wishing, wanting, and saying, oh, if I would have done this, if I would have done that, it might have been different. So sometimes you just expend yourself through that whole scenario or whole goal, because for whatever reason, because all the things is that I can't control whether I can come back and play. I can only control me. I can only control my workouts. I can control what I eat. I control how determined I might be. I can't make that final decision that has to come from a coach, or from a teacher, or from an owner, whether I can have that opportunity or not. So that became, that became a very strong function in my life. And, and I weighed 165 pounds when I came back from Vietnam, so I had to put weight back on, obviously, and had to get back into running, into training, into going through that. So when I got out of the service, I got my weight back, and I got an invitation to go to the back to the Steelers and go to the training camp in 1970. And so it took its toll. And I'm telling you, in all honesty, maybe sooner than I anticipated, that I should have went back. But I just, I beat myself up. I mean, I was limping ultimately through 2 days in the hot summers as you go through that training camp period. But I wasn't going to give up. And so eventually you get a break, and they put me on injured reserve that year. I had another operation, take some shrapnel out that was working its way out, and then I came back the following year, and they invited me as well, and I made the taxi squad, which is the developmental squad as they talk about it today. So basically, they bought me 2 years of hanging around, 2 years to get stronger, 2 years to get bigger, and within their viewpoint, so they could see the changes that had taken place over those 2 years. So I got a chance to make the team in 1972, and on special teams, primarily just on special teams, and so, but that got me through 72 and then 73, and then 74. Things happen. And so injury here and injury there, all of a sudden you get a shot and you're in the backfield. So Frank and I get a chance to start together about game 6 of that season. And all of a sudden things get hot and we go and win the championship that year. Go to the championship game, win the championship, go to the playoffs, win the playoffs, and go to the Super Bowl for the first time. And win the Super Bowl, as we're talking about it. So in that progress, in that process, is that one, you got to have belief in yourself. Secondly, hopefully you get a support system in around you and getting the job done. There's work to be done. I mean, it just doesn't happen. You got to put the time and the effort to be able to get to that point. And then ultimately, I really believe that if given those, then you kind of make your own break, or get an opportunity. So, but it all starts with the effort that you put in and what you want to get accomplished.
Well, it's awesome to just talk to you a little bit and get your philosophy on everything that you've done, and it's not a comeback because you've continued to overcome so much in your life after your career, things, personal things that we all go through, you've gone through.
Right.
But if you look back and you define your comeback, is there one play? Is it the last touchdown you scored? Like, is there that one moment that it's like, yeah, the comeback's complete, I'm done, I can hang my helmet?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, actually, it was the last game I played in, my last game. And it was, farewell to Rocky Bleier Day. We were playing the Kansas City Chiefs, ironically. And it was the last home game. So we had one game after that, but this was the last home game. And we were the defending Super Bowl champions. But we were 500 at the best that season.
There wasn't one for the thumb in 81, was there?
No, there wasn't. That was the call, but there wasn't going to be one for the thumb in 81. And so it was a December day. I mean, so you think back up here in Pittsburgh. It was a cold December day. The Steelers aren't going any place. All those fans, And so I can remember when we were introduced onto the field. And for all those years previously, when the offense was introduced, or the defense was introduced, or the team was introduced, there'd be thousands of fans yelling, screaming, "We're number one, Super Bowl champions," waving their terrible towels, yelling and screaming. Well, it all boiled down this game to a very polite, "Yay, let's go." hopefully we can get this over with. It's cold out here, kind of an attitude. So we get out, and as I like to tell people, so we're a very gracious team. I know we're not going to the Super Bowl defending as defending champions, and so Kansas City was our, it's our guest coming in here, and so we said to Kansas City, why don't you win this game? Kansas City goes, no, it's your home game. It's why don't you guys win it? No. Why don't you? Because that's the way the game went. They scored, we scored, they scored, we scored. It was a pillow fight back and forth. All of a sudden, at the end, it was about maybe 3 minutes left on the game, maybe a little longer than that. And we got the ball back. And we had the ball on the 20-yard line. We had 80 yards to drive, to score, to be able to win this game. We could have had the ball on the 8-yard line. The way we've been playing, I don't know whether we could win the game, even from the 8-yard line. But all of a sudden, Bradshaw comes in. And he comes in and he gathers that offensive unit. He says, come on, guys, let's make something. We have history. We got a title. We are something. We can't let this go this way. And all of a sudden, in my mind, it was like the last cavalry charge in all those movies that we got to watch as kids, as they're leading on the old mare, war horse, I should say, holding the flag, a sword in one hand, charging into the battle line. That's the way I felt. And all of a sudden, we started to move the ball. And as we started moving the ball, all of a sudden, I could hear pockets of fans in the in the stadium going offense, trying to get something going. Well, Frank picked up 6. I picked up 3. We got a quick screen. We picked up a first down, hit our tight end, brought it up over the 50-yard line. I got it down to the 45-yard line, and now it was a 2-minute timeout. So we come back 2 minutes ago in the game. And Franco decides to give me the ball 6 times in a row. Now, he doesn't give me the ball 6 times in a game, but in his wisdom, all beat up, let's give it to Bleier. And so all of a sudden, that offensive line takes charge, and we started moving the ball. Or they did. I was just the ball carrier. We picked up 4. We picked up first down. We picked up another 6. I got a quick screen going off to the side. We're moving the ball down the field. Now, all of a sudden, those pockets of offense, all of a sudden kind of collated together. And it was going Rocky. As we're moving the ball down the field, the clock's ticking away. We got the ball on the 11-yard line. It's about 26 seconds left in the clock. The play that it was called was a trap off to the left side. The ball was snapped. Right guard pulls. I'm underneath. The ball goes 26. The clock goes 26, 25, 24, 23. I turn up. It's the largest hole I've ever seen in the 12 years that I've been with the Steelers. And I turn up in that hole. Clock's ticking down. 22, 21. Middle linebacker hits me. For some reason, I was able to keep my feet. I got now 10 black jerseys pushing me towards the goal line. The clock's ticking down. I come to the goal line. All of a sudden, the defensive back comes rushing up to make that tackle. I leave my feet. Let me tell you this. I propel myself into the end zone. He does as well. And the clock's going 19, 18, 17. And we collide midair, come down. The ball crosses the goal line. And we win the game. And that was the end of it. And I went home, and my career was over with.
Well, you talk about your career then. Tell us now what we've talked about your motivational speaking. When you do that or when you get to do it again, I know you've been doing some virtual things like that. What's your main point? What do you want to tell people? What do you want to leave them with?
Well, basically kind of, things that we had talked about during this whole program, about the abilities that they have within themselves. And listening to stories, because as we all know, we all got stories and we all have an impact on what those stories are. And this is just an example. So we have, we got strengths and weaknesses within ourselves. We have dreams and goals of what we want to get accomplished, and so we have to read or define what they are and what we want to be. And we're going to hit obstacles and overcome those obstacles. But all of a sudden, one of the things that we have to find out within our growth pattern is, what do we have to offer? Who are we? What are our goals? What are our strengths? And so we all find a reason. One of the reasons, and this is a point I bring to them, is that I told you about 1974 getting a chance to start in that backfield because of injuries that had taken place. And I had started at fullback. Franco had been hurt, and then I came back, and now he was healthy. And anyway, as they said before this game, said, Franco, you and Rock will start tonight. And I couldn't see how we could both play the same position at the same time. But anyway, all of a sudden it dawned on me I was going to play the other running back role. And the reason that I got a chance to start wasn't because of my size or speed or height. Nothing that I have there, but of one talent. And one talent, because Chuck Knoll said to our backfield coach, you have a weakness in your backfield. Who is your best blocker? And he said, Bleier. He said, well, then start him. And we got a chance to start because of one talent. So we all have a talent. And so my point is that we all have a talent, and it's really up to us to be able to define what that talent might be and how we can use that talent to the best of our ability. So that's a point that becomes very important to me.
Well, you've been using that talent, and all you need a little Grecian in that mustache, and you look like you could go back out there. Well, I'm sorry that we're not here together. Gonna give you some virtual hugs, and I know you don't get to see Franco and Terry and all the guys down here, but hopefully next year. And for those people that want to follow you, of course, they can follow you on Twitter at Rocky Bleier, or they could go to your website, rockybleier.com. Anything else you want to promote? I know you're working with my buddy Doug Cornfield on a book, putting one of your stories in there. Some amazing stories.
And that's a great. That's a great project that Doug's got going on, and it's pulling one another forward. People that we help and people that help us, because it's just doing that, helping people along the way. So that's a great one. One of the other things, if I got a chance and opportunity, is that I have a one-man play called The Play with Rocky Bleier. It's about the story that I just told you.
It's actually good. It's not bad. I've seen, you don't suck.
Well, thank you very much. And it's being played on Broadway on Demand. People can go to BroadwayOnDemand.com and download it and be able to watch it. I think that they did a great job of being able to film it and edit it and get it into the format as theater, and not necessarily as a movie. But so they've captured that. So it's thank you very much, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I hope other people will.
Yeah, please, everybody go out there. It's really great, and you'll see Rocky in a different light, a little bit of acting, a little bit of all kinds of showmanship. But he's never been shy about being in front of the camera. While I have you on camera, one last time, I got to put you on the spot. Obviously, the Steelers aren't there. They kind of let us down with the way they ended in that season. It was it's like they kind of cashed it in, but it's been a tough postseason. A lot of upsets. My gut wants to go with the old man, but the reality is Patrick is a pretty good quarterback as well. So wonder what your thoughts on who you got.
Yeah, this is I feel kind of the same way that you do, maybe the majority of people. I thought the Patriots have done a tremendous job from the beginning of the season in being able to mold together, grow, and get to where they are today, and especially the playoff game that they had last week to be able to get in this position was something that was quite remarkable. Now, so you got the defending champions and the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is a game, this is a game that's going to boil down to big plays. Who's going to make the big play, or who's going to make the big mistake? Who's going to fumble the ball or who's going to make the tremendous, catch to put that team together. I think defensively, both have their strong suits, and as offensively as well. So it's and I hate to be wishy-washy about this and define. Part of me wants Tom Brady to win, just because of what he's done, and they got the capability of doing it. But sometimes I think that the experience of being there before, and the defensive power that Kansas City has will prevail. But it'll all come down to that. Somebody will say, "Oh, come on, that was a stupid play," or "He should have caught that," or "What a great catch," or "A great interception," or "A great return." Somebody made a mistake, and it's going to be he who makes the least mistakes going to win that game.
Well, thank you, Rocky. That's as political as you probably
I
can be,
know, that's right.
given our current climate. But hey, man.
Well, for me on election day.
Right. Well, you would have been a good man team. You and Franco, you probably could have run out a lot of tickets and made a little better than what we went through as a country this year. But, buddy, it's so great to see you. I am smiling, haha. I might get fined.
Before you get kicked out of there.
Thank you for joining me again, RockyBleier.com, and follow him everywhere. This is Dave Stevens coming to you from Radio Row. If you want to wave and say goodbye to everybody, Rocky.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Radio Row, Dave Stevens Speaks. Follow us. Thank you for Elite Plus TV, the Disability Channel, and, of course, media, the new part with Quinnipiac Ability Media. So we'll see you guys later. Dave Stevens from Tampa. Bye.
Bye.